9 and 12 agree to join in on 5's chess game. When Shibasaki and the officers arrive at the terminal, they notice messages from 5 to 9 and 12 about the game and learn that the police ordered airport employees to broadcast them. They realize that the latest Sphinx video was a police fake story and that they are communicating with Sphinx. When they get closer to the potential location of the bomb, 12 sends Lisa in to create a distraction. After some fear, she sets off flares that set off a fire alarm. 12 then hacks into the camera system and brings the recordings back by 5 minutes, allowing 9 to rush to 5's location undetected. He confronts 5 and threatens her with a pistol he brought with him, demanding to know why she is interfering with his and 12's plans. She responds that she wants to settle something with him before revealing her knowledge of Lisa being an accomplice and being held captive at the bomb's location. The airport police arrive and fire at 9, forcing him to flee. He briefly passes Shibasaki while fleeing. 9 reunites with 12, who receives a phone call from Lisa describing her and the bomb's location. A plane on autopilot heading for a terminal crowded with commuters. 9 contacts Shibasaki, convinces him that the latest bomb isn't Sphinx's, and instructs him to infiltrate the control tower and take control of the autopilot system. Shibasaki enters the control room and forces one of the operators to divert the plane away from the terminal at gunpoint, while 9 and 12 rescue Lisa from the plane. The plane explodes with no one injured, and Shibasaki spots masked 9, who thanks him before fleeing. 5 escapes, and it is discovered that she has Lisa's school ID. She says as she looks at it, "I won't let you get away again." The media believes the foiled attack was the work of Sphinx in the aftermath of the attempted terminal bombing. The officers who accompanied Shibasaki to Haneda Airport are reprimanded by their boss, who removes them from the case and suspends them for 3 months, while Shibasaki is suspended indefinitely. Shibasaki asks his daughter, who is studying physics at a university, if an ordinary person could build an atomic bomb out of plutonium. She responds that it is possible with the right tools and knowledge. 5 locates Lisa at 9 and 12's hideout while they are away, using Lisa's stolen ID. She sends her a bomb, but Lisa manages to escape before it explodes, destroying the entire upper floor. Lisa flees with 9 and 12 to an abandoned video game store that 9 and 12 have arranged to use as an alternate hideout. There, 9 implies that it was Lisa's mistake that their first headquarters was destroyed, which she regretfully confirms. Shibasaki conducts his own investigation, and while at the National Archives of Japan, he discovers that the Rising Peace Academy implemented an operation called the Athena Project a decade ago, with the goal of educating gifted children, but he is unable to find out more about it. He approaches politician Akira Fujiwaka and inquires about it, then threatens to expose his son's illegal activities if he does not receive an honest answer. Shibasaki is informed by Fujiwaka that orphaned children have been gathered, with the gifted ones chosen for the Athena Project. Shibasaki eventually leaves and is joined by another suspended officer, Hamura, who assists him as he follows numerous leads. Lisa later hears 9 and 12 debating what to do with her and flees, only to be apprehended by 5's men. When she wakes up in 5's office, she initially greets her by painting her nails, but quickly turns hostile and tells her that she does not care about 9 and 12's lives. Later, 12 receives a threatening text message from 5, informing her that Lisa has been kidnapped. Refusing to listen to 9's polite requests to remember their mission, 12 sets out to save Lisa. 9 moves away from their hideout to retrieve the plutonium that he and 12 have hidden. In the meantime, Shibasaki and Hamura pay a visit to Mr. Aoki, the former welfare minister, to learn more about the Athena Project. To their surprise, Aoki tells them everything about it, including its connection to the Rising Peace Academy members. He reveals that 5 was the only child who survived the settlement experiments, a place where orphan children were secretly taken for the purpose of artificially producing savant syndrome in humans. Aoki, on the other hand, mentions 2 children, presumably 9 and 12, who managed to flee. Aoki informs Shibasaki that the mastermind behind the Athena Project was Dr. Shunzo Mamiya, the politician responsible for Shibasaki's forced resignation. At the same time that 9 is busy preparing the bomb, 12 arrives at the amusement park where Lisa is being held captive. As he approaches the Ferris wheel, he notices Lisa, who has several bombs connected to her body. The bombs go off right away, and the ride starts up. 12 consoles her and proceeds to disarm the bombs each one by one. Despite the fact that both seem to realize that he won't be able to defuse them all in time, 12 continues while showing his feelings for Lisa. Despite her tears, she tells 12 to flee and save himself, reminding him that 9 needs him. 12 is unable to leave, and with less than 2 minutes remaining on the timer, 5 calls 12 and requests that he provide her with the location of the plutonium in exchange for stopping the bombs on Lisa. 5 reveals that she knows 9 and 12 stole an atomic bomb prototype rather than plutonium from Aomori. With the clock ticking down, 12 is torn between loyalties to Lisa and 9. However, in the final seconds, 12 reluctantly reveals the location of the prototype at school in locker D12. The timer is stopped, and the power to the Ferris wheel is cut, quickly trapping 12 and Lisa in midair. The Metropolitan Police Department is immediately mobilized to the school, where 9 has just arrived to retrieve the bomb. Seeing them ahead of time, he steals the prototype from the locker and begins to flee the school undetected. However, he is quickly noticed, and 5, who is suffering from an apparent worsening headache, immediately orders 9 to be taken down. 5 then collapses from a headache, while 9 continues to flee the police. 9 goes to the police station, dressed as Sphinx mask, and surrenders. He refuses to speak to anyone except Shibasaki, but eventually relents and demands a press conference at a specific location at 8 p.m. or the atomic bomb prototype will detonate. Shibasaki meets with Shunzo Mamiya, who admits that he established the Athena project as part of a plan to boost Japanese national morale after the country's defeat at the end of World War II. 5, who has been admitted to a hospital due to her worsening health as a result of the Athena project experiments, knows of 9's surrender and embarks on a desperate mission to find him. When 12 learns from Lisa that 9 has surrendered, he tries to forget about Sphinx in his shame for betraying 9, but Lisa convinces him to help 9 in the same way he helped her. The men of 5 pursue the police convoy carrying 9 to the press conference, only to discover that the truck is a decoy. 5, enraged and desperate, flees to pursue 9 herself. 12 gets in the way, but 5 disables his motorcycle before stopping the truck transporting 9. 5 confronts 9 after killing Clarence for attempting to stop and kill her, and confesses that she always wanted to beat him but couldn't, knowing she is dying. 5 confesses her love for 9 and begs him to live for them both before committing suicide by detonating the gasoline spilled from her car. The Japanese airwaves are hijacked by a pre-recorded message from 9. The countdown to the atomic bomb's detonation has begun, as his plans for the press conference have been disrupted. 9 unmasks himself and bids the civilians farewell, declaring that this is the final message from Sphinx. 9's declaration causes panic in Japan, and the entire population of Tokyo begins to flee. Lisa reunites with a badly hurt 12, who greets her before collapsing. Shibasaki assumes the atomic bomb is just part of a message from Sphinx because they killed no one during all of the attacks. He then calls Haruka and inquires about the possibility of an atomic bomb exploding without killing anyone. She responds that it is possible if it explodes while in the stratosphere, otherwise known as a high-altitude nuclear explosion. Hamura realizes that Sphinx intends to launch the atomic bomb using a balloon. When the police discover a security video of a balloon carrying a box into the air, they realize that Sphinx intends to disable all of Japan's electronic devices with an electromagnetic pulse, resulting in an atomic explosion and effectively paralyzing the country. They then realize that aircraft would be disabled as well, and there are currently hundreds of passenger flights in the air carrying evacuated citizens. Fighter jets are dispatched to intercept the atomic bomb but fail, while 9 climbs a skyscraper while watching the countdown on his cell phone. At the same time, all passenger flights are grounded and 12 regains consciousness. Lisa asks him if 9 truly intended to destroy the entire world, to which he responds that he and 9 were always alone and were never needed by anyone before. He then thanks Lisa and says he's glad he met her, prompting her to smile seconds before the atomic bomb explodes. Everyone witnesses the explosion before the entire city is enveloped in darkness, followed by an aurora created by the atomic bomb's radiation, illuminating the sky. Tokyo's buildings and streets are completely deserted the next day. 9 travels to the settlement to restore makeshift grave markers for the children who died as a result of the Athena project's experiments, including 5. He is then joined by 12 and Lisa, whom he forgives for his actions. The 3 then spend the rest of the day throwing a ball around and listening to music. As night falls, Shibasaki approaches them, telling them that if they turn themselves in, Project Athena will be exposed to the world and will no longer be ignored. Minutes later, U.S. helicopters arrive and arrest 9 and 12, but 9 pulls out a detonator, claiming it is for another atomic bomb designed by the Japanese government and now hidden in a nuclear power plant. Despite the threat, the soldiers shoot and kill 12 on orders from their superior, who wants the American government's involvement in the investigation to remain hidden. Shibasaki orders the soldiers to stand down, then bargains with an enraged 9, who eventually hands over the detonator before suffering the same headache as 5. Before dying, he tells Shibasaki to remember Sphinx always. 1 year later, it is revealed that Project Athena was made public, putting the Japanese government under fire. Lisa and Shibasaki are friendly and visit the graves of 9, 12, 5, and the other experimented children on a regular basis. When Lisa runs into Shibasaki one day, she tells him what 9 told her before his death, the meaning of the word von, which is Icelandic for hope. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.